crowd of digital nomads here. So when I started my business 4 months ago, anyways, like in March, I decided when I was still back in Hanoi to move to Chiang Mai to have more connections, more opportunities, better chance of skill exchanges and so on, because we are all right here. And it's amazing. It's actually crazy how many digital nomads are here with skills and everything that you really need. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You should come over for a while.
I don't like planes, and that's
I'm afraid of heights.
Oh, it's not really high here. So, but I mean, just knock yourself out in the plane, maybe.
Yeah.
Now, have you actually visited 33 different countries?
Yes.
That's crazy.
These are all great questions you could ask on the podcast that we're hosting tonight, John.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, let's
Are
get started.
we going to talk 2 hours?
No.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I talk a lot, so we could do that. I'm just saying.
It is completely like up to you. Your time is very valuable. I'm used to being here until midnight, my time.
Okay.
But it's completely up to you.
All right. Well, I got it blocked for the next 2.5 hours, so let's bring it on.
Awesome. Well, you ready to go, John?
Let me grab a drink of water, Jeff.
All right. I'm going to get off and I'll get everything started up. We'll be going live in about 4 minutes.
Will there be comments? Should I check them on my phone?
Yeah, so there will be comments coming in, but if there's any questions, we always make an announcement too, and then I'll send them to John, and then he'll ask them for whoever's questioning. So I mean, you can look if you want to, but I'll be feeding in any comments or questions that come in to John, or to the group as well in this chat.
Easy.
So just in case.
Okay, cool.
All right, I'll join you guys in a bit.
So when did you launch your podcast, Monique?
That has been like 6 weeks ago, because I only do a podcast episode every 2 weeks. But I'm about to change that probably in the new year, because now I had so many interviews already that I'm able to schedule them all until the end of the year. So it's cool. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a good journey. I meet a lot of many power women, a lot of crazy, with crazy stories, with everything. So
he's getting ready to get started.
Yep.
I like the music.
No, do you? No.
Turn up the music.
Turn off the music.
All right. Somebody said turn off the music.
I see that.
Alrighty, hey everybody, John Newman here, and welcome to episode number 20 of Welcome to the Machine. And tonight's guest, all-around power woman, motivational speaker. She's CEO of Unlimited You. She's got a phenomenal story out there. And Monique, I would do you a disservice if I tried to pronounce your last name. So is it Linder or La? What La?
La caótica?
La? And does that have any meaning? La? Like,
Yeah, it does. So it's actually Lindner is my real surname, but La Caótica is a nickname that I got about 10 years ago from friends in Spain, since even though I'm very professional in my business, I'm a super chaotic woman in my personal life. So yeah, can't help it. And it means the chaotic girl. So yeah, it's Spanish.
So La Caótica is the chaotic girl?
Yep.
So what would
That's
the chaotic guy be?
El
Chaotica?
caótico. El caótico.
Okay, so I have a feeling that there's a few people that are going to try and give me a nickname of chaotico because I, like you, I like to create a little bit of chaos.
Right.
And that's what makes life fun for me, is just creating chaos.
Right? The funny thing is, I don't think I get to create it. I just kind of slip into it. Like, you know, if you slip on a banana, that's me. I'm just like, oh, there's trouble. Boom.
Yeah, I think that some people tell me that I thrive on chaos. I create chaos intentionally. I'm not one to sit still very often. So if things are very neat and pretty, I like to make a mess of them just to see if I can figure out how to clean it back up.
Yeah, I can totally get that. I mean, I feel ya. I can, for example, I can't stay in places very long. So as soon I get settled, I'm like, holy crap, that's too much. And like, I'm all messing it up and making chaos. So yeah, totally.
And we were talking a little bit before the show started. And I want to get to your story because you have a truly inspiring story. And right now you're in Thailand, correct?
Yep. In Chiang Mai, Thailand. That's northern Thailand, just before the mountain range when the border to China comes.
Now, you were not born in Thailand, though, right?
No, obviously not. I don't look that much Thai.
So how in the world did you end up in Thailand?
I'd like to say I went by plane.
Good answer. Good answer.
Thank you. But there's a long story to it, obviously, right? Where do I start? So I've been born in East Germany, still at the time when the wall was up. And when my mom was pregnant with me, second month, there was the Chernobyl accident in the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, not many people heard about that. And if though, they don't really know what was going on. So very quickly, April 1986, there was the atomic reactor in the big atomic, like in the atomic factory, right? Mm-hmm. And that exploded or imploded, better said. And so it released a huge amount of atomic trash into the atmosphere that was moved by clouds and by the air and everything all over Eastern and Western Europe, up to the UK actually. So one of those clouds got also stuck over Eastern and Southern Germany and had a huge fallout. So one thing that happened was that the government of Eastern Germany, Eastern Germany was ruled by the Russians, and well, there was a huge thing. So it was made out as secret. So they were only, like the citizens in East Germany only being told, oh, there was an accident, but everyone is fine. Don't worry, nothing happens to you. And so what happens was that obviously there was a huge contamination of the cows, the grass, the veggies, everything because of the huge fallout, but the citizens didn't know about it. So it happens that we got levels of over 700% contamination of what we should be able to take in. So 700% over that level. And obviously you can get really bad health issues with that, long-term issues, and nobody knew what would happen, and obviously was not able to see in the future what would be happening. So long story short, the first thing that I was born with was a chronic kidney disease, but as well we didn't know. So yeah, I was born with a kidney failure, so I had only one full kidney, and the second one was really small, so it didn't develop because my mom was in the second month pregnant with me. So it was this huge contamination that they were breathing. Also, all the veggies, they were given out for free. So I don't know if you know that in East Germany, you had to go for veggies and fruit with like a food stamp kind of thing, wait in line for what feels like years to get like 1 or 2 bananas and like 1 salad and lettuce for the whole family. So now suddenly they would give out all the veggies for free in kindergartens and schools because they were so highly contaminated that no one else would buy them or eat them. So, you know, it was all like a kind of a thing. So what happens, obviously, like it appears that my kidneys wouldn't develop properly due to the contamination. And so I have like, I call it 1.5 kidneys, because obviously my left kidney is like half the size and it's shrinking still. So every 4 years, about like 1 millimeter, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's less really. And it doesn't really work. What I mean with doesn't really work is like it does 27% of 100, and the right one does 68 from 100. And yeah, but what really actually was the problem was for 3 years, I had a reflux, which means the urine would come back into my body, and with all the poison that it's supposed to go out, I would be poisoned again. And so this was 3 years long for the first 3 years of my life, and would almost have me died because of a blood infection from all the poison that would get back in. So my parents had to literally run almost daily to the hospital and try to find out whatever I have.
Well, and now you're only 3 years old at this point.
Yes, that's right.
So it gets a whole lot better from here than I hoped, doesn't it? I mean,
we would hope so, but it doesn't really. So I try to make it short. So with 3 years, I had an emergency surgery on the kidneys. So everyone would think, yes, finally we got it. But it was really only the kidneys. So a year later, I would start to have really bad attacks of headaches with symptoms of neurological disorders. I would be a week off, literally off ground. I would throw up, I would faint, you couldn't talk to me. And I was only 4 years old by the time. And so my parents had to take me to any doctors they could imagine. They thought maybe I have issues with my eyes. You know, they were just not sure what it is. And so it took us 5 whole years to find out that I have severe migraines, which is a neurological disorder. So it's a disorder of your central nervous system. So everyone thinks like, oh, okay, if my wife doesn't want to have sex, she has migraines, and it's just headaches, but it's not. It's actually a really bad disease. And you can't cure it. So there is no cure to migraines due to the scientists don't know where it actually comes from. So they know the symptoms, they know triggers, but they don't know the cause of migraines. And so there is no cure to it. Well, so here I was 4 years old, and with 9 years old, they told me like, oh yeah, here you go. You've got migraines, different ones, by the way, and we don't know how this is going to affect your life.
Wow.
Yeah. And it did affect my life a lot in different ways. First of all, well, the physical affection obviously was a huge part. It is definitely still. I think the pain, people cannot imagine this amount of pain you have to take, because when I talk about headaches, it's just not what you have when you drink too much and then the next day you wake up, have a hangover, and your head is about to explode. If I could have this headache, I'm gonna swap with you right away. I don't know, it feels like a jackhammer going right in your brain, opening every single brain cell for days. It feels like someone has a screwdriver and is trying to get every single brain cell out of your brain, and then tries really hard. I can't explain this amount of pain you feel when you have migraine. I think migraineurs out there, they understand me. But it's effed up how much pain that is.
And you don't know when they're going to come on either, right? I mean, like it's not something that's predictable. You could be driving down the road, and next thing you know, severe migraine.
Yeah, and it happened. I drove down the road and I knocked out in my car. Yeah, and I was only very lucky that I knocked with my head against the window and actually woke up from that. So it was like, boom, oh shit, what happened?
Wow.
So yeah, and I obviously had to stop right away. But I mean, now, to be very honest, after like 26 years having migraines, I know the day I wake up, okay, this is a migraine day, but only because I was studying this disease, my body, all the changes, what happens, the auras, like everything around it, with myself, obviously, so much that I can actually say I wake up and be like, ah, shit, okay.
So
let's bring it on.
So through your experience, you've basically seen maybe signs or symptoms or patterns that happen that might trigger a migraine?
Yes, but more as well is I know my body that much now that I can say I feel different that day I wake up, and there's a 50-50 chance, and unfortunately the risk is higher to get it with a 50-50 chance other than not to have it. So there's only so much you can do to prevent it. And if people think like, don't go out because then you don't get it, that's just totally wrong. Then they just don't understand nothing about it. And so it's really only about controlling your nervous system. Now, how can you control your nervous system? The chance is like really low, right? So there's like different techniques. Like I recently got into Tai Chi and Qigong, thanks to my fabulous teacher, Sifu Kai. Thank you. But that actually helps. I never believed into training methods like this, but it's about like energy flowing as well. It makes sense. It does really. And it can help you release different energy flows that got stuck in your muscles, for example. And really, it often starts with an inflammation of a nerve end that causes, like, I call it an electricity outage in your brain, because that's really what it is. Your synapses are sending wrong information to different brain areas, literally, and then they fall out. So yeah.
So you're born with essentially two kidneys, but if you add up the efficiency of those kidneys, it doesn't even make up for one normal kidney.
Yeah.
Then you almost have basically renal failure, or I guess, or poisoned by your own body, and now you have migraine. So does it get better from there?
That would be great. I think the peak of my migraines have been, I was 19 years old and I came home from work, random jobs on the side, because when I was 13, actually, I had to start working already, supporting a little bit the family, stuff like this, It's not easy when your dad is losing his job because of the politics and economics in your country. So it's a little bit hard. So I was 13, started working besides the school, and I kept on doing that also because it was fun, but obviously it would help paying the bills, paying school books, stuff like this. So I was 19, I had 3 jobs besides my college, and I came home from one of them and I got one of these migraine attacks. And what I have to mention is that these attacks evolve and develop with you while you're growing and while you're changing. So your body changes, and they say like about every 7 to 9 years your hormones changes, and this changes the way the migraine works. So you have different areas of your brain that will have the pain, that will fall out, different neurologic disorders, different symptoms that you will go through. So within the time of 4 and 30, I'm 30 now, so within 26 years, I had about, I'd say, 5 different versions of migraines already. And they just recently changed again. So sometimes you will just, from one day to another, have a totally different migraine attack that you never had before, and you just keep wondering like, where the hell does that come from now? So, and then you have to rearrange. It's like a whole new disease. It's a little bit challenging, but I mean, that's what we are here for, right? Anyways, I was 19 years old, and by that time I had epileptic cramps with almost each of my attacks. So it's not epilepsy, but it's epileptic cramps. So your brain is like having these outages and sense, it's so hard to explain for non-medical person. Sense these overreactions to your brain and to your peripheral nervous system, but then they don't connect really. So just cramping is like an overreaction of your body. So your hands cramp up like this, your toes, and obviously your whole body is like shaking and like really cramping up from this reaction. And I don't know whoever knows epilepsy, but if you really have an epileptic attack, you can die if you're not getting treated after, for example, 12 minutes. So 12 minutes is like the edge. After that, it can be dangerous for you. So what happens was I came home and I had this migraine attack, and I felt like I never had an attack like this before. It was so strong, the pain, but also the symptoms. I couldn't speak. I couldn't see properly. So I went to the bathroom to get cold water on my wrists, which usually clears up your mind a little bit. But I fainted and I knocked the back of my head on the bathtub, which was next to me. And then I fell over to the front and knocked my forehead on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, sorry, I'm laughing because it must have looked really funny. And while I was knocking out to the back and then the front, I woke up kind of from this forehead kind of knockout on the floor. But I wasn't really able to stand up and get my mobile phone, so I had to pull myself to the next room where my mobile phone was. And so I kind of crawled over there, and I started shaking already with these epileptic cramps. Now, the issue was at that time that it was still kind of new to me. So sometimes I would get panic attacks and I couldn't stop them. So it was like just a reaction between those two. cramping from epileptic cramps and having a panic attack, so you wouldn't be breathing anymore properly. Now, I started to have these cramps, and the only thing I could do was calling my parents, who lived about 5 minutes from me and had a key to my flat. So I called them, and the only thing I was saying was, you need to come, you have 5 minutes, bring an ambulance, I'm about to die and I'm serious. And so I think when my parents took me serious was that I said bring an ambulance, because everyone in my family knew how I'm gonna hate them. I hate ambulances. Like I spent all my time in hospitals, and I'm friends with everyone there. I'm like, whatever, you know, I got so many injections, I can easily set them myself. But ambulance, I had so shitty experiences in my hometown, that I really hated them. So whenever like I had situations where I really needed one and I refused to go in the ambulance, like I refused, I would kick them. I hated them that much. So when I told my parents bring an ambulance, they knew it's serious.
Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah. And that's literally the point when I can't remember much other than being in my living room, and I remember the door opened and I heard my mom saying, it's going to be all right, something like this. And so suddenly it just went black in front of my eyes, like really black, but it was different from whenever I would knock out. Believe me, I knocked out a lot of times. So it was just different. It was not like this knockout. It was just like a floating away. And suddenly the black turned into white. And so I kind of stopped feeling my body as well. So what happened was my heart stopped beating and I had a cardiac arrest for about 25 seconds, that my neurologist confirmed the next day to me. So I had this cardiac arrest and I just died. I just died there on the floor, and I was really lucky because the ambulance was there and they gave me muscle relaxation and kind of things that my body obviously could relax. So from this epileptic cramps, my heart would cramp up so much that it would just stop beating, and I was out.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was 19 years old. Yeah. So I had an out-of-body experience, actually, a proper one.
Yeah. So literally, I mean, you die there on the floor, and then, I mean, clearly, you're with us now, though. So you came back.
Clearly, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, that was literally not my time to die. You can't just get me out of life that easy. In Germany, we say Unkraut vergeht nicht. That means like the little plants that you really don't want in between the ones that you actually want to grow, you can't kill them.
It's like the weeds. Like they just keep coming back.
That's the word. The weeds, you can't kill them. So I'm the weed. You can't kill me.
You're the chaotic weed.
I'm the chaotic weed and you can't effing kill me. Yeah.
So how do you move forward from this? I mean, like there's so many different obstacles.
Yeah.
Like, where do you go next?
Well, first I went through this out-of-body experience, right? Which was actually pretty cool, to be honest, if I'm looking back at it now. So it went all white around me, like so white that it was creepy. Like, you know, this sterile hospital white.
Yep.
Yeah. Disgusting. And it got whiter and whiter and was so bright that I was literally trying to get away from it. So that's why I think I know, like, I obviously didn't want to die as well. The medication helped, but I was trying to get away from it. And I remember one theme that came there. So I had like a whole lot of memory snippets, you know, like snip, memory, snip memory. Like it was like this. And actually like the Hollywood movies would kind of tell you, and it's a bit true. And there was one memory which appeared to me to be really nonsense for the past 11 years. And funny enough, here in Thailand, just about 2 weeks ago, I found out what this stupid memory meant. So funny. So the memory was that my ex-boyfriend, by this time, we had a fight, but then he was coming back to say sorry, and he brought me roses, and I would break them over his head. Why would you remember that? Like it to me, it didn't mean anything until now. Because do you know the movie Rango?
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't watch movies. I don't watch TV. I'm off watching anything for 4 years. My best friend is kind of hating me for that because he always tries to give me movie quotes, but that's just another story. Anyway, so one of my friends actually made me watch Rango, which is kind of funny and random. But Rango has an out-of-body experience in this movie. And Rango, the little lizard, right? Mm-hmm. And he meets a movie star or whatever, and this movie star tells him, we are only seeing what we are supposed to see. And so I remember that this kind of moment when I broke the roses was when I actually broke free from everything surrounding me that was not meant to be for me. But I didn't realize until this out-of-body experience that I have to just stop pleasing people. And this was like, okay, I have to say as well, when I was 19, I just thought like, ooh, I survived a clinical death. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the only reaction I had. Only about 2 years later, I would realize how much of an impact this day had to me. I mean, I died, and then I just came back, which is quite cool still, right?
It's very cool, and I think it shows that you had a bigger purpose for while you're here on this earth. I mean, like there's unfinished business, and you're meant to do something more. Yeah. And I believe that we're all here with some singular purpose, and it's when we as individuals can recognize what that purpose is for us to be here, and then capture that, and then follow that. That's where this whole thing comes about finding my why or my purpose or my passion. It's that we're all, this is just my belief, we're all created with some sort of bigger purpose. And it's kind of like our job to find that.
Yeah.
And I think
totally right.
I have a hunch you're going to go there.
Yeah, we will get there. So I didn't find my purpose yet by that time. I think there was still more to come, and it will, in my story, to actually find my purpose. But it was definitely an eye-opening thing, even though I didn't realize it until like 2 years later. But by that day, I stopped pleasing people. I stopped doing things that, or at least I tried to stop. So it obviously is a process, but that's the day when I, even without realizing, just stopped doing BS. I accepted a no bullshit tolerance in my life, and it's here. Like, any bullshit, thank you, not in my life. And it's so much better. Guys, I can't tell you, cut out the BS out of your life. You will be so happy. It's whatever it is. You don't like your job? Leave. You don't like your boss? Tell him, and then leave.
Monique, it's very interesting in that people that make comments like that, what I've found is that a lot of them have had some sort of life-altering or traumatic experience where it's almost like they made a decision. You know what? Life is too short. I mean, you're dead. So, I mean, why am I going to live life for anybody else? Because you've been dead now. Now you're back. You have a second chance. And it's, like you said, stop complaining. I mean, and I live by a simple mantra. Like, if I'm not willing to do something about it, then I lose the right to bitch. So if I'm going to bitch about something, like, I need to either do one of two things, either take action to change it or just stop bitching about it, because to bitch for the sake of bitching is just a waste of mental energy and undue stress. So who cares? Either do something or accept it and move on. Yes,
totally. And the thing is, I'm all about bitching something, but do it once and then shut up and do something about it.
Yep.
So I'm happy for you. I'm the best person to bitch about something with. So if you have something to bitch about, hello, come over. I'm all the way up for it. It's totally fine. I get it, you know. Sometimes you need to let it out. Like, I'm so full on that. But, you know, there's like this time span that you can spend your energy on, and that's it. Like 7 minutes, 17, maybe 27, but don't spend more time on it. And then actually, I totally agree with you, John. Actually shut up, do something about it. And everyone can do something about it. It's totally a misunderstanding if people say, like, I just can't leave my job. Okay, I understand you just can't leave. I did.
You can and you know, and I love that when people say that I can't. First off, the word can't to me is like, remove that word from people's dictionaries. It's like, I can choose not to, or I can choose to do something about it. But like when my kids say I can't do something, it you know, I just don't want them to grow up and think that you can do whatever you would like to do, or you can choose not to do it. There are a lot of things I choose not to do. Because I don't enjoy them, or they don't fulfill my sense of purpose, my sense of being. It doesn't make me happy. Right. But I could do it. I just choose not to. Right. And people say that they can't quit their job. What they're saying is they haven't come up with the resourcefulness to put together a plan to make a transition. And I'm a firm believer, and I get into arguments with people that, you know, I don't know how much time I have here in this earth. So I'll be darned if I'm going to do something that I don't enjoy. Yeah. You know, because what I know is I need food, shelter, and clothing. And I have enough people that love me and care about me that will make sure that I have food, I have shelter, and I have clothing. So other than that, everything else is just material possessions. Yeah. So if I'm choosing to stay at a job that I hate, it's a choice that I'm making. Like, you're choosing to do that. So you're choosing to be miserable. That's right. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, totally fine. No, I love that. And you're totally right. I mean, I gotta say that I totally understand that there are circumstances where you cannot just step out and be like, I'm going to quit my job. There must be preparation, but there is always a way. There is always a way. And that's the thing. And I love this quote for it, like, whether you say you can or you can't, you will. Yep. If you say you can't, you can't. That's right. If you say you can, you can, you know. Everything is possible if you just put your mind to it and you really want to do it. And it's something that I get really passionate about. If people tell me, like, so how do you do it? People who see me traveling all over the world, they think my bank account is filled up. Meh. If I tell them that I live of $3 per day, just because I also don't have more, but also because I don't need more.
Did you say three?
Three.
Like $3 US a day?
That's right.
You live off of $3 a day,
That's right.
and you're smiling.
That's right.
That's a pretty cool life.
Yes. And you know what? The thing is, I didn't choose to. I got robbed in Hanoi with all my money. Everything got robbed of me. I didn't choose to live like this, but look at me. What do I need? Like, I don't need money to live amazing, you know? I do a job and I probably work more than many people out there. I'm working like 16 to 18 hours a day. But I'm loving it, you know, and I do great stuff and I work for a purpose, as you said before, you know, and that's the thing, you know. I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. It's a little bit early here, next day already, to actually talk to you, you know, but it's amazing.
It's kind of cool because you're living in my future because it's Thursday, it's Wednesday where you are. So and it's only Tuesday here. So you're in the future, which is kind of neat.
Yes.
You're the first time I've interviewed someone from the future.
Oh, cool. I actually talk a lot of times with people in the past, and I mean, in the US. Yeah,
and it's interesting. Monique, we have a question already, and
cool.
You just tied into it because you said you talked to people in the past. So this question is from Nima, and he asked the question: do you believe in reincarnation?
That's a really, really good question, though. Yes and no. So
that would be my answer. I would have the same answer.
It really depends what you believe reincarnation is. I do believe that my soul is going to live further as soon my body has just given up on me. Mm-hmm. It will take a while, you know. I'm very irresistible. They tried to kill me a few times, didn't happen, so we will have to see. but my soul definitely will live somewhere. I think I'm probably gonna be an elephant. I love elephants. And they have a huge memory. They remember everything. So we have that in common. So I would love to be an elephant. So let's hope for that. I also collect a lot of karma points. So no, but I do think I do also like the concept of reincarnation. But I feel like that's for everyone something else, and I like to have it this way. Actually, I like to give everyone the freedom of having an own concept of reincarnation, and my concept is that the soul of yourself will live as your own legacy if you worked for it. So whatever you did, it will keep on living in a way that you deserve, you know. So if I keep on working on my purpose, I hope that I will be the power woman that everyone will remember as working for, you know, sexual violence and abused people that got help, something like this, you know. And however that will be in people's minds, if I'm an elephant, cool.
We haven't touched on that yet, but in addition to everything else that you went through, you were a victim of sexual assault also, weren't you?
I'd like to rephrase that. I'm a survivor of rape. Yeah.
Okay.
Twice, actually. And also sexual violence in different ways, you know. Like at work, harassment at work, harassment at the streets. That happens, by the way, way too many times. You can't believe that. Everywhere, all over the world. And so, yes, but I'm a survivor. I'm not a victim. And yes, they can't beat me.
And I thank you for correcting me on that, because the mindset change just by the verbiage that we use has a tremendous impact on our lives. So thank you very much, because that's what you just said is really, really important. And And the way that we use our language can either trigger positive emotions or negative emotions. And victim immediately triggers negative emotions. Survivor triggers, and clearly in multiple different ways, you are a survivor. I mean, in multiple different ways.
Totally. Yeah. So, well, while we're already at this point, I might just also jump the few years over that, right? Yeah. So while I survived the clinical death, well, that was when I was 19, right? So in between, there were a few little things, like with 15, I had a car accident that crushed my spine a little bit. So I had a spine injury since I was 15. When I was 24 years old, I had a role as a team manager, and I was leading 160 people for an IT company. And within this role, I had to work a lot. And I don't mean like working like now, as in 16 to 18 hours. I did that too, but I worked like sometimes 36 hours. Don't do that, guys. It's stupid. It's really stupid. Don't do that. But I worked also for someone else's dream. I don't know if that was someone's dream, but anyways, I worked for someone else, and this is what makes it so hard, right? So I didn't work for myself. I thought I'm going to build up a career, but it's just not what I really wanted, and this made me burning out as well. But what really happened was I got bullied there from my boss. She played a really, really shitty game, sorry for the language, and the game she played was literally that I worked 3 roles in this company. I had my own one. I had to work through her tasks, but she obviously took all the
credit for it.
All the credit, exactly. And then she would, behind the scenes, would bully me in a really weird way. And so anyways, I got my back injury, because of being there all day long and being so tensed up, got really bad. So what happened was that I had a nerve that got pinched between muscles and inflamed really badly. And it ended up for me coming home one day and well, like really in a sudden movement, kind of, I had 4 discs that would prolapse out of my spine and herniate, and they would cut off my main spinal nerve in the lower back, so that the function of my right leg was not given anymore. So I had a half numbed right leg that I was not able to use anymore. It was painful, but I wasn't able to walk anymore. That's the whole point. And so I had to go to hospital, and I got injections into the spine. So everyone who knows injections in the spine, they will start throwing up right now, because it's the most disgusting thing ever. But I also had like 2 discs right here in the neck. So I got injections in the neck and in the head, because like in the skull, literally, because they tried to numb the nerves so the pain would stop. Well, fast forward, I had to take high dose of morphine for over 7 months. And I tried to find a therapist that was specialized in working on my spine and helping me reverse the prolapsed discs, because I was only 24, so they didn't want to do surgery, which is good. But the discs were a lot prolapsed. So if you have like the spine, right, and you have the disc, it literally came out like all the way almost. So they had to find something to get it back into the position where it's supposed to be. Sorry. So yeah, so I was on my way. I'm sorry. I just swallowed my own air.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We all have to swallow air every once in a while.
So I'm just talking too much, I guess. so it took me about 4 months to find a therapist, and then I found one, and he was really specialized in working on spine injuries and like this disc herniations and prolapsing. And so I went there the first therapy, and it was great. I was literally relieved. I got so much hope. And what I didn't mention so far, because you asked me this question before, how I overcame everything, and we almost get there. I'm a ballet dancer. I started dancing ballet actually almost right after my surgery. So when I was 4 years old, just before all the migraines started. So since I was 4 years old, I danced ballet for all my life. Or later on, I was like a cheerleader and all this kind of dancing stuff.
Yeah, both of my daughters are dancers. I mean, matter of fact, I was a dance. I mean, I do a dance every year with my daughters that I have to go to rehearsal for. But my daughters have been dancing for years, and now they're into gymnastics, which is dance is very beneficial for gymnastics. So I get it, you know.
Yeah, and it's the best they can do. Like, I can highly recommend anyone to get either into sports or arts or anything as a kid. And I come to that later why, but I can just highly recommend that. If your kid doesn't want to, just force them.
So how do you, I mean, there are many people, and I guess we can go back to the complaining, like after hearing your story, and I've had, you know, it hasn't been all, you know, sunshine and rainbows in my childhood and adult life. But after hearing your story, I feel like, wow, who was I ever to complain? So how did you move forward from, I mean, it's like one catastrophe after another. What kept you going?
Yeah, right. So, well, the dancing is a huge part, right? So when I went to the therapist and everything went right, there is the next session when I actually went to the therapist, and that's when he raped me.
So your own therapist?
Yep.
All right.
And that was actually the point when shit got really down for me. So, because if you just take this window of, I'm 24 years old, I had this back injury. I lost my job because of that, because they fired me after 6 weeks being sick, because they were like, oh, you're not coming back to work right now, so, well, we're just going to fire you. They obviously got another reason, because it's illegal in Germany, but they did it through the back door, right? So I didn't have enough money to pay my rent. So I almost lost my flat. Only with the help of my parents, I was able to keep it for the time being. And the worst part was I lost all my friends, all of them. I had 2 left, 2 in Berlin, where I was living at this time itself, that had my back and helped me. But all of the others, they were just like, well, you're not coming out with us. I couldn't fucking walk. Like, what F you talking about? So, and then, so here's the point, right? This guy raped me, and the first thing I thought was like, how the F should I ever walk again? And then the second thought was like, did he just fucking rape me? Like, what the F just happened here? And then I threw up for a few hours. And then all the rest of the shit came. So now here are we with your question, how did I get through this all? First of all, I like to believe, since I'm born with all these diseases, I had 2 choices when I was a young kid. I could choose to be this girl who is this sick girl and can't do all the stuff because she's sick and she has to stay home or whatever. Or she could be the one who's told, you can't do this because you're sick, and she's doing it anyways. So I was the second kind of girl. I was always like, nah, I can do it anyways. And I did it. And I would be sick many times more, because I did stuff, but I did it. I always did it. So that was a success for me. For me, it didn't matter how sick I was. For me, it didn't matter that I did the things that I wanted to do. So it's a little bit fun because my mom would always tell me, don't do it. You're not like healthy enough, or you can't do it. And my dad was like, if she wants to climb a tree and falls down, I mean,
let her climb a tree.
Right? And I did. Climbed up, fall down, didn't break anything, worked out, right? So, I mean, climb up again. And I was always a daddy's girl. Always in his garage repairing mopeds and like motorbikes and cars. That was his shop at that time. And then driving around with him. So he was sitting on the motorbike and I was holding the handlebars and driving the bike with like 5 years old. Not that I was holding it really, but you know what I mean.
Right, yeah.
So dancing is a huge, huge part in my life to overcome that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because as a kid, you can't just say like, oh, I feel, fill out the blank. So you just can't express your feelings really. I couldn't even tell my parents what was hurting me, because how am I supposed to tell that in my brain a part there is like giving me the worst part, like the worst time of my life, right?
Right.
So the dancing, really, I could just put on music, like forget everything around, even with this pain, and express everything that I felt without saying a thing. And it was not about someone understanding me. It was about just me expressing myself so I would get these feelings out of my body, like releasing them, you know? So dancing was a huge, huge part for me to deal with all these obstacles. I would say ballet saved my life. Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like through dancing, you became very, very self-aware of yourself, your feelings, your emotions, and you could express yourself in ways that you may not have been able to do verbally.
Yeah. But then there is also obviously a little process that I went through. And I'm very lucky to have parents that never tried to tell me everything's going to be okay, don't worry. But they were really honest with me and didn't try to sugarcoat me. And I think because the way I've been always told, well, that's just the way it is, deal with it, kind of, you know. I had the opportunity to deal with it and not to be like, okay, we find a cure tomorrow for you. No, I was 9 years old and the doctor told me in my face, so Monique, this is what you have. There's no cure for it. You will have it all your life. Maybe if you get pregnant once, I will never. Maybe if you get pregnant, you will lose the migraines, but actually that's just a myth. So you won't. And I was 9 and I was like, okay, I'm not going to get pregnant soon. So don't worry.
So, and now all of those experiences, I mean, to a certain degree, as horrific as they were, I got to imagine in some way they almost empowered you. Like you could turn, you had somehow the ability to turn negativity into positivity.
Yeah.
Like how did you come to that realization?
So don't get me wrong, in that situations, obviously I wasn't happy.
Sure.
But I never, for example, felt any depression. I never, even though maybe my friends would think that I was going through a depressive phase, but it wasn't depression. It was just consciously being aware of what happened and working through it. And obviously, if you get raped, you're not going to sit there and be like, okay, guys, so how are we going to do this right now?
Right.
Like, and if you have, if you're on morphine, you're also not the very happiest person on earth, besides the fact that it didn't help. So you're not in control of your mind, not in control of your body, and then it didn't work as well, which is frustrating. You have to swallow that much chemical shit for your body. It just, So obviously there were really frustrating times. But I figured out, and I don't know when, to be very honest, I don't know, but that resiliency is actually what I had to build. And I just actually recently figured out through my coaching that I obviously built for my clients as well, that there's kind of a process that repeated itself every time again whenever something happened that I went through, that helped me to overcome this and just not fall in a deep black hole, for example, you know. And so there is about 3 or 4 steps in this process that makes it easier to go through any kind of adversity, obstacles, whatever pain that you have to go through in your life, that helps you to build up this resilience. And obviously, as soon as you have this resilience built up, then you can go through anything in your life and come out happy again, you know?
So essentially, it sounds almost as if you have you're building your resiliency muscle, and there's a 3-step process to build this muscle. Tell me about that process. Tell me, I understand what you're saying, but tell me about what you've experienced. Like what is that process to you?
Mm-hmm. So the first thing, and I think it's one of the most important things, is you need to acknowledge whatever happens to you for what it is. So, for example, let's take this rape, right? So I had to just acknowledge first what it is. I had to be really true to myself, not sugarcoat it, but also not making it worse as it was, and to really understand what I'm actually facing, like what obstacle am I facing and how am I supposed to deal with it. So the very first step is acknowledge the issue, problem, obstacle, whatever you have, as the thing, as what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and make it very clear. Speak it out, write it down, whatever works for you best. But acknowledgement is the first thing. And I think many people either don't want to speak out the truth. There's often denial connected with pain. Mm-hmm. And we experience that a lot if we lose someone that we love, you know, a family member, a friend, our partners. The acknowledgement comes many times later only, that we acknowledge that they are really gone. But if we start with that, then it will be way easier and simpler for us to accept this fact, you know. So the second step is, and this is, I think, the hardest part for everyone, you have to know and you have to actually understand that you will overcome and get through whatever you are facing right there. So what I mean with that is, for me, the point was, okay, I just had this back injury, I got raped, I lost everything that was important to me in my life. But if I stop right here, then I will fall in a black, deep hole and I will not get out of it. So you have to focus on the happy outcome. So people always refer to the end, to the light on the end of the tunnel, but I don't like this because the tunnel is black and dark.
Yeah.
And so I like to say that just focus on the bright side of life. So kind of try to imagine that you're just trying to cross the road, right? So from the shadow side to the bright side. And the most important thing is that usually understand afterwards what they learned and what makes them stronger in everything, try to find it already by the beginning or within the process. So, and that's the really hard part, because you need to be very aware, you need to be really conscious, and you need to be, I'm sorry, that's really harsh actually, but you need to stop self-pitying yourself. And that's the thing. Don't sit there and be like, oh my God, I just had to experience XYZ, and stop whining. I know it's really, this is just the harsh truth, right? Because if we are sitting here and whining and self-pitying ourselves for what happens, we cannot move forward. So if we know that we will get through, and you will, there is, unless you're giving up, you won't. But if you fight for it, you will get through anything that will happen in your life. And you need to know that you will reach this positive outcome, you know, whatever it is. So.
And that's one of the things that I'm hoping that we're showing through this podcast, and I know that you're doing with your podcast. If I look back on my life, every curse, every horrific thing that I think happened, looking backwards in some way, shape, or form was a blessing. At that time, it was horrible, but looking backwards, it was like, wow, that was absolutely necessary for me to learn something, for me to meet somebody, for me to become a better version of myself. And I've been through, and it sounds like you're the same. I've been through enough experiences that now that I'm okay. It's like, you know, what are you going to throw at me? Because I know on the other side, there's going to be another side, and it's going to be okay. But I had to go through negative experiences to get to the point where I understand that. And that's exactly what you're saying.
That's right. Now imagine, John, if you had this knowledge before, is there something in your life that you think like you would have gone through easier or more comfortable, as in, for example, overcome it, like maybe not faster, but, you know, like just stronger within yourself without struggling and actually now the word is missing. It's something with S2. English. What are we doing? So if we feel pain, you know, there is this quote: pain is inevitable. Suffering is the word. Oh my God, not English native though.
That's okay.
So suffering was the word. So you could have suffered less, you know, because that's the thing. We don't have to suffer. Suffer is a choice as well. So yes, we have to feel the pain, and yes, we have to work through, but we don't have to suffer the whole way. And that's the thing, right? So suffering is kind of a choice. And that's maybe what I meant with this harsh words like self-pitying and whining. I don't mean that personal, so everyone out there, but it's just a thing, like suffering is as well a choice that we can make. We can suffer or we can't. It's the way that we choose to go through, right? So is there any situation in your life, John, that you said if you knew that the outcome was this positive, and if you would have been able to see that in the process, you could have suffered less?
Oh, yeah. Probably hundreds of them. I mean, there was a time in the mid 2000s where, you know, I had pretty much lost everything. And I'm talking about financially, which now I understand that. Who cares? Like, what big deal is that? Because I was healthy. I had my family. Like, who cares? I lost money. Big deal. But at that point in time, it was very, very difficult. And there were times when I wouldn't say it was depression, but it was definitely not a positive frame of mind, and it just wasn't a positive time. In looking back on that, the only thing I lost then was money.
Right.
Like, who cares? Like, I mean, like in the big scheme of things, big deal. I lost money. You know, I still had food. I still had shelter. I still had clothing. And for me, that experience was, I'm eternally grateful for that experience, because through that experience, I learned how I don't work for money anymore. It's really not that important to me, because I know that I'll have food, shelter, and clothing. It's the people, the relationships, the experiences, my health, my mindset, and that you can't take away from me. Like, you can't take that from me. So
100%.
What do I have to worry about?
Yeah, exactly. See, and imagine you would have known that a little bit earlier, you know? I mean, obviously we need to make this experience.
Mm-hmm.
We are not born with this knowledge. So, but if you would have someone that helps you gaining this knowledge, and that's what I do, for example, right? I help people with different challenges to gain this knowledge, to change their mindsets, to open up perspectives, so they can actually build this resilience that that find new, I like to say motivation, but it's really only the force to push through.
Yeah. Motivation can be almost like external, and what you're talking about is internal. It's coming from inside, not I put on a motivational tape or a motivational video. That's external. And I trust me, I love motivational. Matter of fact, if you're at my house on a Saturday morning, I'm probably playing some motivational stuff at my house in my car, because I'm trying to program my mind with positive vibrations, positive energy, positive affirmations. And some people say that's hocus pocus. It works for me. So that's all that matters.
Totally. And that's right. It's all that matters. And if that works for you, that's 100% the thing you should do, right? Mm-hmm. But motivation for me is also an internal thing, and it's not a positive feeling that you wake up with and be like, yay, we're gonna do this today. It's a force that you put on yourself when you wake up and you be like, I really don't want to do it, and you still fucking push through, because then you're motivated. If you find the force in yourself to push through when you really don't want to do it, then you're motivated. And that's what I can wake up in you, you know, like that's what I can help you to find in yourself and to activate. And that's why motivation is really like a thing, you know, like it's not a feeling that you just wake up with and be like, oh great, oh, that looks nice, you know. But
you know, life isn't perfect. I mean, if it was you know, the funny thing is, if life was perfect, it wouldn't be fun. It would be very, very boring people.
I know, right?
So and when you say that you like the chaos, I don't really like chaos. Matter of fact, I actually like order, but I love a challenge. So I love to push myself beyond comfort zones, which appears to be chaos, but really all I'm trying to do is just build myself. I'm trying to become a better version of myself. So I'm always pushing myself further, harder in multiple areas of my life. Yeah. It looks like chaos to everybody else, but for me, it's like that's how I'm becoming better, because I'm constantly getting out of being comfortable.
Yeah, and it's totally cool. And I think that what people should try as well, making them uncomfortable on purpose. However that is. You don't like sports, go do sports.
So I love this, because literally right before we got on this podcast, I had some guests in my office downstairs, and right now, I got to show them to you, because what the hell? So, I can't. I'll get on the chair.
Get up there.
Oh,
yeah. Ooh. So we have almost the same color.
Oh, I like those.
Right?
I like those.
Yeah.
And so we have guests that are visiting my office, and I walked into the conference room, and it's two gentlemen, and they happen to know. I could see their face.
Germans are everywhere.
I'm having a conversation, and I don't know how it is in Thailand, but here in America, most men don't have painted toenails. So I'm having a conversation with the two gentlemen, and I could see one of the guys, his eyes glance down, and he looks back up, and he has this weird look on his face. And I said, is it the blue, or is it the fact that they're painted that you don't like? And then it caught him off guard. And he said, yeah, I have to ask, like, why did you paint your toenails blue? And I said, once again, I said, is it the blue that you're questioning, or is it the fact that I actually painted them? Because there's a reason behind both. And then we started talking about getting uncomfortable. And I shared a story where I took, I think it was 5 of them. I took 5 guys that are members of my organization. I said, we're going on a surprise field trip. And we went to a pedicure place. And I didn't make them, but I kind of made them all get their toenails painted. And then we had to post it to social media.
Yeah.
So and these are all young guys, between 19 and 24. They've never had a pedicure, and they've never had their toes painted. And at the end, I said, I bet you all are wondering why we did that. And they were like, well, yeah, kind of. And I said, because it's a very easy way for you to get very, very uncomfortable and realize that it's still okay. Like, your world is still okay, even though you have, and we had lime green and neon red and all kinds of crazy colors. And what I realized today is, and you said this earlier, I really don't care. Like, see, I like my toes painted, and I'm on social media now with painted toes, but see, I like it. And I really don't care what other people think about it, because it's my life.
Exactly. And why would you care?
Yeah, I don't care. Now, my father-in-law hates it because men don't have painted toes. And so that just pushes me even more.
Who says that?
But you know what?
Who said that men don't have painted toes?
Who made those rules?
I don't know this rule.
Hold on one second. Excuse me. I have somebody in here cleaning.
Cool.
Yeah, you can come back. You can come back later. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
And that's the thing, and we went way off topic there. But the moral of the story is, we have the opportunity to design our own lives and what makes us happy. And who is it for someone else to judge what makes us happy?
Exactly. And who are the others to tell me any rules about what I'm going to do, how I'm supposed to feel, what I'm going to put on my toes and what not, how my hair is supposed to look, if I should wear fucking makeup or not, am I going to have some fat rolls or not? You can all look at my middle finger if you want, but that's all.
I think we're going to use that as a quote.
Yeah, do that.
So,
but you know, the thing is just, and I want to make that really clear, if I could make old women stop buying those glitter glamour magazines, that would help the world already, because they're just the biggest BS. Like, who's telling people to look like 90, 60, 90, and next year it's like 90, 25, 90? Like, who told people in the US size 0 is like the only size you should wear? Who told, well, not only in the US, but I mean, size 0 is not existing in Europe, so it's like extra small. But who told like women that besides having kids, they should work full time, that they should also do the household, and they should never complain about it? And by the way, don't be tired, have makeup all the time. And if your hair doesn't look like I mean, seriously? And now my ring got stuck in my hair. Like right here.
What you're saying though is exactly right. It's like, who who made those rules that according to a certain gender, we're supposed to have specific roles? I mean, I don't understand that because my wife was not put on this earth to cook and clean for me.
Oh, fuck no.
And
if you think that,
and trust me, yeah, and that's exactly what she will say to me. But some people put these, and I wasn't put on this earth to change the oil in my car. Like, I mean, or necessarily cut grass or take out trash.
And believe me, I can do that much better than most of the guys. Like, I can build a house thanks to my dad. Thanks, Dad. I can build a house and probably like repair cars much better than some of the guys out there.
Well, if you know how to change oil, you are a step of, I mean, I could probably figure it out by watching YouTube videos, but it's not something I'm passionate about. It's not something I enjoy doing. So therefore, I try not to spend my time. I would much rather be doing a podcast for hours and hours and hours talking to really cool people than changing the oil. Now, there's somebody out there that is thinking, are you crazy? I would much rather change oil than do a podcast. So he should be changing my oil and I should be doing my podcast. That's the way.
Exactly.
That's the way it works in John's world.
Exactly. And the thing is that there are even people out there who think they can put rules on you, like those society rules. I'm not talking about like, don't kill people. I mean, obviously we have common sense, hopefully. I mean, let's just hope that common sense is still a thing today. But also education would be nice for many of people out there. But anyways, like, don't kill people is something obvious, right? So, but I'm not talking about those rules. I'm talking about all these society kind of things that have been put on us, like, you know, all this hair, white teeth, kind of skin color shit. Like who the F are you to tell me and all the other people off? Like,
or what we see a lot here is you judge someone by, you define success by a title or a monetary method. So someone makes money, therefore you must be successful. And I know a lot of people that make money that are miserable souls. So therefore, in my mind, they're not successful. They live a miserable life. They may have money, but they live a miserable life.
I love all the people who just put all these like learn how to make 6 figures in a month out there courses, and I love them. They're so BS. Sorry.
No, because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, who cares?
And also, just get out of my face with your 6 figures, 7 figures, 5 figures. It doesn't matter how much you make. No one wants to know. No one needs to know. Like, am I going to tell you how much I make? No. Why would you need to know? I would still live off $3 a day because it makes me fucking happy. So it doesn't really matter how much money is on my bank account or how much money I make or how much I don't make. Like, it doesn't matter at all, you know? So why would I make advertisement with that? Like, it's, for me, that's a characteristic thing as well. So if people come and tell me like, oh, I can show you how to make 6 figures because I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, thank you, this way. Next.
Because what people are doing, because I get solicitations from people all the time that say you can do this and we'll pay you more money or whatever. And I'm like, you assume that money's actually important to me. Like you don't even know me and you assume that somehow that's going to mean something to me. Like, get to know me as a person and get to know how you can add value to my life.
Yeah.
And then we can talk, but don't make an assumption that you can wave a carrot in my face and that actually has meaning for me.
Yeah, I know. I know. I have this too. People come up like, do you not want to make like big money? Nah, not really.
You know,
like, if I turn into a person like you, hell no.
We touched on something, and I think I cut you off. It may have been the toenails. You talked about the 3 steps for building your resiliency muscle. Step 1 was basically acknowledgement, that there was something there. Step 2 was, I'm going to summarize it like, get over it. Like, okay, stop the suffering, stop the complaining, move on. We never got to
know that you can overcome it. Yeah.
So step 3 was know that you can overcome it?
No, that was step 2.
Step 2. Okay, what was step 3?
So step 3 is my personal favorite. Become best friends with your pain.
Ooh.
Now, best friends is a thing that maybe some people cannot refer to, because best friends is something you want to enjoy. But I actually think by the end of the time you overcome it, you can look back, and as you say, you can see it as a blessing. So why am I saying become best friends with your pain? So you want to build a relationship with your pain, whatever it is you go through, maybe grief, loss, physical pain, mental pain, whatever it is you go through, you will have pain and you will have to build a relationship. So the thing is, if you become best friends, or however you call it, you can call it a cousin or a stepfather, or whatever you want to call it. If you give them just space in your life and build a relationship, that's very important. So what it really is about is that you don't fight against it, but you allow it to be with you, and actually just let it be there and go through it exactly the way it is. So you feel the pain, you let it be there, you don't deny it, you actually give it space to feel it. So if you feel sad, go and cry. If you feel frustrated, go and scream. If you feel, in pain, just take a day off and feel the pain. Just sit or like go somewhere in the forest, mountains, to the ocean, wherever you feel comfortable, but go and feel the pain, because you don't want to fight against it. You want to go with it. And why I say it's a relationship is, you have this great day. So with my migraine, for example, I have days, even with the migraine, I take my medication and I'm totally off grid, but I can go out, I can work, I can talk to people, because I can kind of work with the pain. I know how to deal with it. And even though I talk weird and I react weird, I can take it with me and like go through my life with it. And there are days that it just knocks me out, and then I have to just take it as it is and accept that I can't go out or just shouldn't talk to people because I'm talking really weird things when I am on migraine, or not talk at all. So, but the relationship is like with a friend. Sometimes you agree and you have great times and you have a good day, and sometimes you just fight over your food, because that's just how it is with friends as well. And that's why I like to call it my best friend. So that's the last step. And if you can get to this one, you will stop suffering, and you will have a simple, not easy, a simple way to accept it as a whole and to respect it as it is, and to go through that.
Now, are most of your clients, when from a coaching aspect, would you say that you cater more towards women? Because it seems to me like there's a big space there that's not being, I don't want to say being filled, but are most of your clients women? Like what advice do you give what do you see on a regular basis with women that you help them overcome? Like, what are some of the classic examples, for lack of a better word?
So I'm obviously having a specialization in women just because I'm a woman myself, and everything I went through, I'm way more specialized in, as in what I didn't. So the topics that I work with them on is like sexual violence, chronic diseases, body image issues, and mental abuse. That's like the most topics that I worked on with them, and obviously went through myself. People who see me and ask me like, what body image issues do you have? Because I'm very not skinny, but I'm very slim, sporty. I have actually a fabulous figure, but I got skinny shamed half of my life. And people don't understand that this is an issue as well. And so through to my chronic diseases, I got one time in my life really skinny, and I did look like I could have an eating disorder, but I didn't. I actually ate, well, you could see it as a disorder as well. I ate fast food all day long. I ate so much, but I was half the size almost like now. I was so skinny, you could believe I had a disorder. I didn't. And I was in checks for health checks and with doctors all my life. Like literally every month I went to health checks and everything. I was underweight, but this was because I was on an antibiotic course for over 9 months. So I just wasn't able to gain any weight whatsoever. And I ate kebabs and pizza and whatever all day long, like more than you could believe I would stuff in my belly. But I got skinny shamed so bad. Like they called me names.
What is skinny shame? I don't know if I've heard that one before.
Oh, really? Skinny shame is like people tell you off to be too skinny, telling me I have like bulimia or any disorders that I don't have, and would make me actually, well, obviously if they, fat shaming, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
the opposite.
It's just the opposite, really. Like, and I got bullied a lot for being too skinny.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that I really cared too much, but it did hurt because it was not my fault how my body was looking like at this time. And I was like 16, 17. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, you see that everywhere. I mean, it's a sign of society. If you're too skinny, you get picked on. If you're too heavy, you get picked on. If you have one big ear and one small ear, but see, that's the beauty. We're all created perfect. So
yeah.
if we can accept that, I mean, I have a big nose. Okay, big deal. So somebody can say I have a big nose. Yeah, whatever. I mean, but that's how I was born. Like, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to conform to somebody else's design of what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
But how do you help someone overcome that? Because there are a lot of people that are either watching or will listen to this that are feeling this. They won't admit that they're feeling this.
Yeah.
But they are feeling this. How do you help someone overcome that? Whether it's skinny shame, fat shame, I have, 2 left feet, whatever it is. Like, how do you advise them to move forward, move past that?
So I like to say that I'm a challenger. So obviously the work is by yourself, but so we have weekly calls that I'm helping you. So through this call, it's like a 1-hour session, and I'm challenging you in this calls. It's a straightforward task that I'm giving you. I'm asking you questions. So in the beginning, obviously, we need to get to know each other. But then there will be tasks that I'm giving you that we are going to do together. So for example, one of my favorite tasks is you have to write down 35 things that you really love about yourself, sitting in front of a mirror with me on the phone. You have to write them down. You have to read them out. And I'm going to make them I'm going to make you reading them out every morning, every night. And then whenever it is about body image issues, for example, for week by week, you have to take off more clothes. By the end of the time, you stay in underwear in front of the mirror reading those things out. And it will be directed to the things that you didn't like in the beginning. So we're going to turn those things that other people say they don't like about you into nice things. Like, for example, I got always shamed for my small breasts. Well, let me tell you guys that my small breasts will still stand when I'm 70 years old, and I don't need any implants to make them.
All right. See, that's where the cup is always half full, because you can look at something as it's a negative, or you can always turn it around and say it's positive. You
It
know,
is.
and it's a choice of how you choose to perceive it.
Yes. So what I really do is changing perspectives and challenging their minds to actually change the way they look at themselves, and then helping them to evolve and develop a positive mindset on whatever it is. So if it is to overcome fears, I help them challenging themselves to actually like perceive them. So literally I give them tasks that they have to do. So in the beginning we do it together, and then like step by step, because these programs are a little bit longer, right? So you can choose if it's 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And so we go ahead step by step, and it's individualized. So that's why it's really hard to say like what I'm going to do, because with every person in the beginning, I sit down, I have a 1.5 hour, it's the first session. And so we really sit down. What is the issue? Is the issue actually the issue, or is there something else that is behind? Because a lot of people think like, okay, my issue is that I think I'm doing this and this wrong. But really what it is, maybe you think you're not good enough, you know? And this is like very much deeper, comes very much way back from something that you've experienced maybe in your childhood. So we have to go back all the way and then work our way up. So in the first session, that's where we're going to look into what's actually the thing that we want to work on, what is your goals, and how can we overachieve them. So yeah, and what do you want to actually achieve? Like some people want to have like personal goals achieved. Some people want to have like business related goals achieved, but need to change personal habits. So yeah, and I do work a lot with women, but I also have a program for men that is crushing your fears and your ego.
And your ego.
Yes, because I actually got approached from my last 2 male clients that were coming and asking me to help them to crush some fears. And we found out with both of them that literally there was a connection between fear and ego that would stand in their own way. And
I can see that.
A lot of men obviously don't want to admit like, no, I don't have this ego, but they do, and I'm perfect to crush it for you. So we're going to work on this together, and I'm about to have a program for that as well. Obviously individualized, so it's really hard to call it a program really, but yeah, it will be 3 months.
I have to ask you, because you have a tattoo on your left arm.
Oh, I have 12, but yeah, this is one.
Is that a sunset?
This is my hometown. Wait.
So your hometown in Germany?
Yes, this is Dresden.
Wow, that's cool looking. Now, what does that tattoo signify for you? Like, why did you get a picture? Why did you get your hometown tattooed on your arm?
I won't ever return to my hometown as in living there. I will obviously visit them, but I think we should never forget where we're coming from. And so that's why I just took it with me.
That makes perfect sense. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And because where we come from is a part of who we are, and it's
exactly,
and that's should never be forgotten. No matter where you are in life, like every past experience has created the version of us, whoever we are. So we need to keep those. But at the same time, like you said, the negative ones, like not dwell on it. Because obviously there's some negative experiences from your hometown as well.
Oh yeah.
But you're not carrying that negative experiences with you. You're only carrying the positive experiences with you.
Yeah. It actually has a quote. It's one of my favorite quotes from Coldplay songs. And it says, if you never try, you'll never know. And it's just true, right? And so it is like in the part of in the river. We have a river in my hometown, so that's where it's tattooed inside. And the thing is, I always tell people that it's good not to forget about your negative experience, but not to get stuck in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to, yeah, keep that in mind always.
And since you've launched your company, you've had the ability to live in 33 different countries. Is that correct? 33?
Not since I launched my company. So I've been to 33 countries in the past 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which ones are your favorite?
Oh, that's mean. No. I'm not going to do that.
So they all probably have awesome things. So
yes.
It's probably unfair to say which one's your favorite, because maybe one place had bad scenery, but they had amazing food. What have you learned from, because 33 countries is a lot, what have you taken away from the different cultures and the different experiences in each of those countries?
So the first thing I've taken away is we are all human, we are all the same. I can't say different because, first of all, this is very important to me. And funny enough, maybe it's a very weird thing to say, and I hope no one is going to be offended now, but I know I'm white. I know I have kind of blonde hair, but I've been to countries, especially also in Asia, and I've been to Brazil, and like I've traveled through South America to 10 different countries just recently before I came back to Hanoi and Thailand later. And I traveled there, and I also learned Spanish on the way, conversational, not fluent, but it's enough. And so I've been there, and even though people look different from me, I don't feel to be an outsider if I just be able to integrate myself with like learning the language, going to local places, make an effort to talk to people. I'm just sitting with locals, you know, like I go to the market and be like, is there a space free? And I just sit with them and they look at me and maybe they make fun of me, but I'm not going to get offended because I know I look different. And so in Asia, that's really a thing, you know, just if you travel to Asia the first time, don't get offended. They're going to point at you. They're going to laugh about you, maybe about your big nose. I have like a, you know, a little, they show at me. They laugh about my blonde hair because obviously it's not really blonde. It's like, it starts out brownish and then it gets blondish, and whatever happened to my hair, it's just the way it looks. And then I just look different. So they always laugh at me. But then I also try to speak Thai and Vietnamese. So I'm learning in every country I go, I learn basics of the language. And whenever I try to speak to them, it obviously sounds weird and funny, and they're gonna laugh the hell out of you. But I like it. I just laugh with them, you know? So, I mean, who cares? It's not that they really laugh about me. They just laugh about how it sounds and whatever. So the quintessence is we are all human, you know, we all have red blood. It doesn't really matter how our skin looks. And yes, I know I'm white, I can say that. It's different for our friends who are out there and have experienced so much different things with a dark skin. And I'm just so sad about this. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes I forget that I'm not from this place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting there and I'm sitting with like Indian kids and we are doing photos and we look at the camera because they have never seen a camera before if I'm in a small little village, and we play around and everything, and I just feel like I'm Indian.
Right.
Sorry, that sounds weird, but that's just how it is, you know. And that's so beautiful. Like if we make an effort, we are just all one. We can grow together easily, you know. It's not about like where we are from and what skin color we have. It's just like we are all the same, you know, like we all have skin. It doesn't matter how it looks. We all have red blood. It doesn't matter if it flows upside down or right, left. Who the fuck cares, you know? And yeah, so this is one thing. And the other thing is that, yeah, I mean, that like there were situations that I might have needed help or whatever, and in whatever country, I always found amazing people to help me, when maybe people would have told me, don't go to this country, it's so dangerous. Bullshit. Don't ever let your government tell you there's a risk of traveling in this country unless people actually get killed. But like, maybe don't travel to a country where there's war. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But just because, for example, it's Colombia, that's such a beautiful country. Don't ever like, Pablo Escobar is dead. You don't need to be worried about it anymore. Like, he's not going to sell you trucks. And I'm telling you one thing, like in America, they sell fucking more trucks than anywhere in Colombia.
There's, I've never been to Colombia, but I bet there's a lot of truth to that. I can guarantee you there's a lot of truth to that.
What? Americans
consume the drugs. That's what happens here.
You know, the thing is, and that's just the thing. And I might open a really, really big topic now, but Colombia has this stamp of being a truck country, the same like Germany has this Hitler stamp. Mm-hmm. And we just don't get rid of it. You don't even believe how often, wherever in the world, I got greeted with like Hitler signs and Hitler greetings. And don't get me wrong, it's the most insulting thing you can do to a German. It's more insulting than Trump in the US right now. But I'm not getting political right here. But what I'm saying is, this is over. Like, I have really, really, really great, fabulous Colombian friends. If they're gonna see this, hello. Anyways, they're amazing, and this time is over. Like, it's so over, like Hitler. You know, I haven't seen anything about trucks there. I traveled in Colombia for 3 weeks to so many different places. I took a lot of tours there that show you all the places from Pablo Escobar or whatever, tell you everything about it. And then they say, like, all you can get here is our green, how is it called now? Oh my God. This green crystal. It's a crystal stone, like a diamond kind of thing. Something with E.
Emerald?
Thank you, emerald. They are dealing with emeralds like hell, and they make shitloads of money. But ask them for cocaine, and they're like, nah, you're going to go to Mexico or to the US. For real. And I want to just make that clear. That's all just in our heads, okay? So we also don't have Hitler anymore. I don't know where he ended up, but I just fucking hope he's really dead, like really, really dead. He doesn't exist anymore, guys. There is no stories related to Hitler in Germany anymore. That's the past, and we know it, and we deal with it, and we are fine. We're not doing it again. But it's done, right? And Pablo Escobar, it's done. So that's just the thing. And and there's so much, you know. It's I think there's a lot of things all over the world where people just go and be like, don't go to this country because, and then fill out the blank, you know. And it's just not true. So before you think you talk about a country that you've never been to, go and see it yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I think the same goes for, and I think you were alluding to this, people or things like don't judge something before you actually understand what's going on. Don't judge a person. Don't judge a country. Don't judge a role, because until you get to know that person as a human being, like how would we know? You know,
right? And unless it's Trump. I'm sorry, just a bad joke.
And that's the amazing thing about life, is we have the ability to connect if we choose to take the time to connect with other people, to learn from. I can learn something from every single person I have an interaction with, if I choose to pay attention and to listen to them. There's not a person, there's homeless people that I've learned a ton from.
Yeah, totally. And the thing is, we have so many amazing tools to share. Like, not only are we talking right now from Thailand to the States, but also you probably know Airbnb, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But there is like even a better tool that's called Talk B&B. And so you can travel around and you can get accommodation for free if you only give people time to talk with them. So you can book the same way like Airbnb, and all your host wants is to talk your language. So, for example, if you travel to Spain and they want to learn English, you can go there, have accommodation for free, and all they want is talking to you maybe for an hour or two per day, so they can learn English. And the
Wow.
other way around, yeah, it's so amazing. And like, so you can not only save money, but you get to know amazing people and then share your knowledge about like languages and cultures, and it's just so cool.
That's amazing. So where do you go next? Because, with everything you've been through and you're smiling, you're laughing. I mean, there are people that are out there that are like, they had a bad day at work and it's ruined their whole rest of their week.
Yeah.
Where do you go next, like with your business, with like, what's your next 5 years? Like, what's your journey look like? Or do you try and just live in the moment and just live for today? Like, what is your philosophy on that?
So my personal philosophy is, whenever I know what I'm gonna doing tomorrow, I'm good to go. So I don't really know. Like, I know I'm gonna stay in Thailand probably until the end of the year, just because I want to celebrate Loy Krathong here, which is the Lantern Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So you release the sins and the bad and negative thoughts of the year into a lantern, like the big paper lanterns.
Yep.
Burn them up and release them into the sky. And Chiang Mai is actually the best place for it. So like tens of thousands of lanterns are going to be released in the beginning of November into the sky. So I want to be here for that time. And otherwise for my business, I totally have a plan. I have a really, really, really big mission. And my mission is, first of all, with my podcast, but also in different other ways. I want to educate people about topics like sexual violence, mental abuse, also mental diseases, chronic diseases, all these things, like what we have to go through, and that we all can learn from each other if we also stick together, stand united. I also hope to work with governments on the educational part of sexual violence and self-defense. So I'm learning self-defense myself right now, and I hope to be taught how to be a self-defense teacher as well in the near future. So I'm working on that part, and hoping to get this like caught up in my coaching and everything as well. So whoever needs this practice, that I can that I'm able to offer this as well. And so with my business, on the other hand, my big plan is to open up 2 NGOs as well. One for sexual violence and abuse, like domestic abuse or mental abuse survivors.
Mm-hmm.
But more as in the mindset way. So what I'm doing right now with my coaching, Pay It Forward, this will be an NGO that will help people all over the world who are not able to access coaching like this, as I'm doing it right now already, as in my Pay It Forward, but as an NGO, really to set it up and be able to have coaches all over the world who coach women and men as well in sexual violence topics, and help them to change their mindset and perspectives and get them a better lifestyle through that. And the other NGO is one of my dreams, actually, and has nothing to do what we are talking about yet right now. once in my life, I want to open an NGO for kids that had to go through war, been born in war, or had to flee from war. And I want to help them through dance and art therapy.
So what do you think, if anything, will hold you back from this?
Well, I'm already working towards it. I just gonna make a few millions and then we're good to go. So if anyone really has some millions lying around, don't need them, throw them at me so I can just start right now.
And you're just joking because the money doesn't mean anything to you.
Well, I don't need the money for myself, right? I'm just going to need the money to build those NGOs, because obviously it's going to take money to build NGOs like this. Like for the kids, for example, we would need houses to host them. We would need teachers to paid teachers, also volunteers, but it's like a whole logistic kind of thing, everything. So yeah, there is money involved in everything, and every NGO needs as well money to organize things. I'm definitely well aware of that. So yeah, it will take me some money to do that, but I'm on the way.
And how do people find you? So if there's anyone that's watching, how do they find your podcast so they can tune in? How do they get a hold of you if they wanted to become a client?
Yeah. So the best thing to find me is online on my website. So that's moniquelindner.com. I should maybe spell it out because it's a French-German name connection. Or maybe we can put it in the comments down below if that's fine.
We'll put it in the comments.
Cool. Yeah. And so this is where you can find all the information about my coaching, my paid forward project, which is called Unlimited You. Mm-hmm. And my podcast is also called Unlimited You, the podcast for Power Woman. And you can find it on iTunes, on Stitcher, on my website, and recently now on Google Play as well. And yeah, so if you just go on my website and click the podcast page, you can find all of these players. Oh, on SoundCloud as well. So yeah, wherever you need to find it, you can find the podcast.
And are you very active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, anyone that is the best place to reach you?
Facebook is definitely the best. So on my page, Unlimited You by Monique Lindner, you can definitely get in touch with me. My mobile phone is always with me and is buzzing. And I answer literally within an hour if I'm sleeping within 4, because that's how much I sleep. And otherwise, Instagram, definitely, it's unlimited you, unlimited_you. Yeah, you should find me. It's also on my Facebook page. Whoa. And I have a YouTube show, but this is just for fun.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when we started this podcast, it was about one's, and your story is just so appropriate for it. It's about one's journey towards fulfillment. And because I believe that we're all on that journey. It's a journey towards, however I define fulfillment, that's what I'm searching for. It's not money, it's not fame, it's to become fulfilled. What does fulfillment mean to you?
So, I think that's actually an amazing question. The thing is, for me, it starts with happiness, and happiness only can come from inside of you. So if you think that you can buy a car and it makes you happy, it might be okay for the first 1.5 hours, but that's it. Yep. If you think you can hop on vacation and wait for weekends, because I'm waiting for weekdays, then you're just living the wrong life. So for me, happiness is to be healthy. And now don't laugh about me. I know I have 2 chronic diseases, but I'm as healthy as possible. And that's just fucking amazing to me. And that's also my own achievement. And for me, being fulfilled is having people in my life that I want to have in my life. And those I don't want to have in my life, I just kick them out. So fulfillment for me is I have the full control over my own happiness, like the no bullshit tolerance, for example. I control how I feel. If I don't feel okay, I change that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is there someone who doesn't make me feel good? I tell them and I say, hey, I don't really feel good about this. So let's just, yeah. And usually I'd be nice, sometimes not. It depends.
But you just choose not to engage with them. And it's almost like it, and it sounds weird, but we have to be very, very selfish of the people we let into our lives. And it sounds selfish, but it's actually selfless. And that is a conscious choice that, like, we don't have to surround ourselves with negative people. We get to choose who we can associate with. And, and you know, like you said, you're not rude to somebody. Like, you know, you're a miserable asshole, you know, get out. But I'm going to choose not to engage with you on a consistent basis because I want to, you know, I'm choosing to surround myself with people that are positive. And I believe that energy that is created in that community is very, very powerful. And vice versa. If you surround yourself with a negative energy, then that's going to be powerful too. So once again, it's a choice.
Exactly. And also the thing is, if you surround yourself with negative people, how are you supposed to stay positive, right? Because we're exchanging energies between each other, so you will get negative yourself. So if you choose the right people, you can exchange positive energy and you can help them more. So for me, really, it's all about like the right people I have surrounded myself and helping them. Like all I do in my free time is literally advising my friends on stuff. I don't know if they want it, but like, but it's just so much fun to me. I'm not sitting there. So what you should do is, no, obviously not. But like all my friends that I'm really in contact with on a constant basis is we don't just talk about like our nail color because I don't have one. It's like unless on my toes, right? But it's always the same. I have this since 3 years. I get it done every month. Again, I do it myself again. So it's the same color. I don't have to decide which one I take. It's one color anyways. So, but what I'm saying is we are talking like deep stuff on a regular basis, and we exchange a lot about our lives. And this is a great thing because I have an actual relationship. I'm not just saying like, how was your day? Good. And yours? Great. Cool. I just ate burritos. Oh, nice. I ate pad thai. Cool. See you tomorrow. No, you know, like it's actually deep stuff. And like, even though we are maybe not doing the same, we can talk about everything and we can help each other. And that's all about it, right? It's not, that's what relationships should be, whatever it is, friendships, family, whatever. So, and that's the people that I want to surround myself with. And I also have like business friends, you know, that I'm exchanging a lot about business, pushing ourselves forward, being accountable with, and it's awesome. So I really like this.
Yeah. And I think you've shared a lot. And when you share your story and your pain and struggle, there are plenty of people that will listen to this or watch this. They may not be ready to put it aside, but you're changing their lives and impacting their lives. And I think that's really, really cool. And I appreciate you waking up at, I don't know, probably 5 o'clock in the morning just to get on the show. I'm very, very thankful for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. No, thanks for inviting me. It's been really great.
No, I mean, the more that we can share, and this is why technology can be a phenomenal tool if it's used properly, because if it weren't for technology, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. So the amazing thing about the ability to do what we're doing right now is we can have conversations with people and impact each other's lives through technology. And that's pretty amazing. So I'll be checking out your podcast, and, you know, obviously I hope everybody checks it out because I think there's a lot to be said for one person just sharing their story with another person.
Yeah. it's really awesome actually. And so the first 2 episodes are just like it's funny, just like a wrap up of my life. And yesterday I posted the 3rd episode, and now our Power Woman talk are starting. So I have the interviews with like amazing women out there that went through crazy shit as well, and how they overcome it. So it's a lot of great things to learn.
Thank you so much. Oh, we have another question.
Yes.
And I'm not a millennial. Some people think that I am, but I'm actually not. So this is from John, and he asks, what are some common hardships that you see most millennials running into? And I think then the next thing is how do you overcome that? So
Right.
you travel a lot, 33 different countries. So is there any patterns that you see of like hardships that people are consistently running into, and how would you advise them to overcome them?
Right. Okay. I feel that is a very generic question, which is a great question. Thanks, John, for the question. So to be very honest, it's a question that you can't answer in a very generic way as well, because pain and hardships are always a very subjective thing.
Yep.
So, but I feel like a lot of things are based on financial issues, and a lot of things are family based as well. So either loss of a family member, or really abuse within family, may it be mental, domestic, sexual abuse. So these are like very common. It doesn't even only relate to millennials. That's just a thing. We're just in this generation right now. So I guess that's why maybe the question. So how to overcome it? So financial, I really just recommend. So the first thing is acknowledge really what is it that you have as a financial issue. So is it that you have really big debts? Is it that you have just the issue that you don't earn money right now, so you're jobless? Is it that maybe both, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then acknowledge where it comes from. Did you maybe just have 5 credit cards that you used over a year, and that's where the debts come from? Or did you have a chronic disease and you didn't have health care, or your health care wouldn't cover it, and that's why you had to pay so much money? So just acknowledge it and make sure you exactly know where it comes from, so you'll be able to take care of also the cause, so that it wouldn't happen again. So if you're someone that is not aware of how to use credit cards so you wouldn't get into debts again, then make sure that you get help from someone who knows how to use them properly. So it's just something for later. And then obviously you want to make sure that you don't get stuck in this mindset of I can't. Don't get stuck in that. Yes, I know student loan in America is a big issue, and like having maybe $50,000 or $100,000 in front of your eyes can just block your mind right away. But what I really advise is don't see that number, just put it aside and take it into small steps. So if you break it down, for example, if you take it onto 5 years, that's $10,000 a year. That's about $1,000 or like $800 a month. So if you see it that way, you can break it down and make it more achievable that way for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, if I have to pay off $800 a month of debts, how much do I have to earn per month to actually work it? If you have to take 2 jobs for 5 years, do it. So sometimes we have to do things we don't like, and don't get me wrong, I did a lot of things that I didn't like to actually have the life I have now, but you will get through it. And if it's 5 years of your life that you have to get through it to actually be free from debts, for example, by the end, do it and work it through.
Yeah.
And cut off like alcohol, cigarettes, going out, eating out, to save money. Like it's just so much money you can save by cooking home, not smoking, don't drink too much alcohol. I'm not saying don't drink it all. Like it's just basic.
But
right?
you get to make a decision. You get to make a decision. If this is causing me pain over here, then what's just causing me more pain, and then take action to remove it. I mean, it's actually when people say they're going through hardships, it's like, okay, what is the hardship? Okay, well, let's acknowledge what the hardship is. And that's, most things can be done through our decision-making process. But then where people fall into the trap is they don't make that decision. They just want to continue to dwell, oh, well, I can't do that. Or, and then their hardships just build. Just acknowledge it, make a decision, move forward, hold yourself accountable to it, and deal with it. I mean, we all have hardships. I mean,
that's why it's those 3 steps, right?
I mean, you went through a lot of hardships, and you make $3 a day, and you're smiling, and you're happy. So if you can do it, anybody can.
Yeah, most certainly. But you need to get to this point to understand that as well, right? So you need to get to this point to understand, like, I can do it. And it's not easy. Like, obviously I had days in my life where I was laying down, full of morphine, not able to move my legs, being in my bed for 3 months already. And I thought, like, I don't want to fucking do this shit. Like, I really don't want to do this shit. That's like serious, not my thing. So whatever it takes, do it for me, but I'm not going to move my ass anymore. And I wasn't even able anymore. So I had these days for sure. But, and here comes the thing, this is you are the only person in your damn life who can change that. So if you have this moment, take it, but you want to wake up from it the next day and you want to be like, today we're going to fucking rock it. And if you can't move, you can't, fine, but you want to get step by step there. Like, when my therapist raped me, I couldn't walk still. Like, what did I do? I went back to my GP and I asked him to fucking get me more injections to make me walk. What else was I going to do? Like, I don't know. I found another therapist, I guess. Like, not really, you know, like that was the only one available for the specifying, like, specialized topic. But that's what we're talking about, motivation, the force. It, like, you need to awake this force. And if you ask me now how, no, man, that's the thing, like, individual, like, you really need to want it. Do you want to have a miserable life? Then you have it. But if you don't want it, then you have to wake up this force and push through. And that's what you said as well, Sean. Like, you can't just, like, wait for someone to do it. You have to take the decision to get out of it. And that's exactly what this first point of this process is. Acknowledge it and take the decision to change it. And it's the beginning of how to overcome this hardship. Yeah.
I love that. All right, Monique, we're running out of time. Thank you so much. What time is it there, by the way, now? 7, 8?
Let me check. Oh, it's almost 9 a.m. Yeah. By the way, guys, I'm happy. So if you have any more questions and if John felt like this was enough answer, I'm happy to answer them in the comments down below. So ask away.
Yeah. What we find is there will be quite a few people that watch the replays of this. So if you'll engage with them, that would be phenomenal.
I'll be online all day long.
Awesome.
And all night.
Thank you so much, Monique. I love your story, and we'll check out your podcast and stay in touch.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me, Chung, and having me here for so long.
Thank you. Have a great day, and I don't want to tell you to, like, stay positive. Like, you don't need that. Just you be you.
I will. Thank you so much, Sean, and speak soon. Have a good night.
Thank you. You do the same.
Thanks. Bye.